for the weekend. But as much as I love trading, I am looking forward to the weekend. Actually going to head out to New York and enjoy some friends and a party out in New York. Bang! First time they've been reopened in forever, right? So let's get this party started, shall we? Our disclaimer is that this information is being presented by me, Jon Najarian, for informational and educational purposes only. Full stop. Our disclaimer is followed by the intellectual property, which says that we have registered marks, trademarks, patents, and copyrights on almost everything you're about to see. So please, before you reproduce it in any fashion, ask us first. Thank you. Still love this one. Put it up yesterday. God, I might leave it up for a long time. My buddy Jocko. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is only one way. So get after it. That's what we're about to do. All right, how about this one, my friends? This one was, since I cut it off, sadly, this one was MO, which is Altria. Altria bulls quadruple their money. Now, back in October, when the stock was $37.70, somebody came in and bought a lot of March 37.50 calls. So basically the at-the-money call, and they bought a bunch of them. Now, they paid about $2.72, as you can see on the screen there. So that would be $2,700 for a 10 lot. That $2,700 allowed them to control 1,000 shares of Altria for basically November, December, January, February, March. 5 months. I mean, crazy, right? Well, some people who just want yield and owned that stock were willing to sell calls, and some of the activity we noted in there was the buying of those calls in big numbers. So we bought those calls, and that is where it is today, 51. So you guys can do the math. I mean, from 37.5 to 51 is 12 to 50 is $12.50. Throw another buck onto it, 13.5. I mean, what a trade. And look at that, the 52-week range, we're right at the highs as these options expire. Now, did I hold them the whole time? I held some, and I rolled up several times, but did I hold them from $2.72 to $13, $14? No, I did not. As soon as they doubled, I took half off the table. So you could put that up on the screen and say, okay, that's a dumb trade, John, you took half off. It's my discipline. I always do that. Unless the stop gaps up, I'm always taking it off at a double. Occasionally, I get lucky, stock gaps up, and I'm able to sell it for more than that double on the first round. And then I roll a stop order up underneath. So in this case, as the stock moved and these options doubled from $2.70 to a little over $5, took that money off the table, half, took half off the table, let the rest run, and rolled out of those 37.50s up to the 40s. Then I rolled up again and again, and now I'm out of the trade today. Just thought I'd pass that along. Here was one that I did yesterday. Told you yesterday about the unusual put activity and how strong it was in the QQQ. You saw what happened to the QQQ yesterday and what it was like today early on. It was getting clocked again. And so these puts, I bought the at-the-money put, as you know. I'm a big fan of buying at the monies, selling out of the monies. This was such a short-term trade. I just bought these. They were $4.60 when I bought them. They closed yesterday at $5.41. That's not a double. And in fact, I couldn't ride them all the way to a double. They opened today at $5.66 and traded up over $7. Then the market reversed. So like I say, when I'm either managing a winning position after I've rolled or even before I've rolled to the upside, what I do is I mentally set a stop at a level that I'd be comfortable getting out. Obviously, this trade was working this morning, working very nicely, in fact. So as it went to $6 and then $6.50 and then $7, I mentally put a stop in at $6.75, 25 cents under where the stock was trading. It kept going up, hit a high on the day of 712. Yeah, there it is, 712. And then it began pulling back and I exited at 675. So in other words, 460, 675, nice day, $2 plus profit on that one, and I am out of the trade. Why? Because the reversal was so big, I didn't want to stick with it. I could have sold another put against it, stayed in the trade, didn't want it. These are options that expire next week. You know how I feel about that. The time decay is extreme. I like pulling money off the table quick when we have unusual activity of this sort. We do the daily crypto bite every day. It is completely free. You can tune in either by following me on Twitter, following Market Rebels on Twitter, or you can pick it up off our YouTube channel or Facebook or LinkedIn and so forth. Our daily crypto room, those two young guys monitor that. They're in there 24 hours a day. I know, hard to believe they take turns, but they are in there monitoring and posting about what's going on in crypto. They've made some fabulous trades for me and for others. They don't trade for people, but they've set up various trades for us, and I think it's an invaluable resource. I'd encourage you to check it out. You can do that for $1 a month, $1 a month. You just go to marketrebellion.com/try crypto, and you can see what's going on in that chat room. Thousands of other investors in there, and those two guys monitoring the chatter and offering insights because they're the guys that wrote the curriculum for that Market Rebellion crypto course. So check it out. Costs you $1 for the first month. That's it. Bullish call on Ford, and it looks like I've slid these too far off so that my big ugly mug is covering the Ford calls here. But what I'll point out here is that Ford was upgraded. They took the target, Barclays did, from $9 to $16, and improved margin outlook. Like the trade, we've had 1350 action at the 1350 strike, of course, in Ford, and I'm still in there. There's Pete talking about PARR Petroleum from his place down in Florida. PARR, it's up 5.5%. It's 1577, and he talks about the June 1750 calls. So those are $2 out of the money, folks. I'm buying the at the monies, selling those out of the monies. That's the way I play. There he is, citing that activity and showing you that, yeah, we had big activity last Friday, and then look, nothing this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all of a sudden spike today to nearly 16,000 contracts. Whoops, went the wrong way. There it is. And take a look at the volume because volume is always telling. Now, if you don't know if they've been bought on the offer, it's not very telling. But since we know that these calls were bought on the offer, it is telling because look at that yellow bar at the bottom of the page. That's telling you that we saw the 3-month average volume in here, 370,000 shares of stock. Look at it today, 3.1 million shares of stock, 10x, 10x. Yeah, I want to follow when I see that kind of activity. So I'm in this trade. And there's our YouTube page. Encourage you to check it out. Just go to youtube.com, type in Market Rebellion as I have done here, enter it, and what you'll get is that page with thousands of videos for free. Don't have to pay a cent. You just have to click and subscribe. 15,000 people have done that. We get an average of about 30 some odd thousand views of these videos. Some of them as much as 200,000 views. We're very proud of that, and we appreciate that you guys give us that support. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, and you can watch it any time of the day or night. You're not on a schedule. Let's talk about Huntsman. Pete talked about it because stock was up 1.5%. They were buying the calls in here, the April 29 calls. That is the at the money call. Those are the ones I bought too. They're 1 month out at the money calls in Huntsman. Year to date, the stock's up 16%. There's Huntsman. Take a look at that volume. Average is 1.7 million shares. Look at it today, 4.6 million shares. You think somebody's paying attention and putting on positions both in stock and options? I do. Don't know if it's going to be an upgrade. Don't know if it's takeover paper. I just know I want to participate. And I'm in a limited risk trade, owning those 29 calls. As the stock rallies, hopefully I'll be able to sell 31s or higher against it. That's the way I would play 1-to-1. This is short-term options. You know what I've said in the past. Short-term options are the things that we want to pay attention to and not necessarily worry about, but we do want to be cognizant of the fact that time decay, or theta, is something that can hurt you when you own an option. But if I own one option and I've sold the other option, I can mitigate that to the best of my ability by selling an option against what I own over here. That works out for me. You have to decide what's appropriate for you. Third and final trade here is SBUX. SBUX, the stock was at 108. They were buying 14,000 calls. New viewers, 14,000 is 1.4 million share equivalent. You're asking me, why is that, John? Because every option is for 100 shares of stock. So when we talk about 14,000, put two more zeros on the end of it. Yeah, 1.4 million. You think that's somebody serious in SBUX? I do. I was already long the stock. I added to it and put on this trade. Now, what you need to be aware of is just like I talked about earlier when I talked about Altria. Somebody has chosen here, instead of putting $108,000 to own 1,000 shares of SBUX, they have elected instead to pay $360 per option. So a 10 lot, which would control 1,000 shares, would cost them $3,600, not $108,000, $3,600. And then you could sell a higher strike against it and take the cost way down, impact both that theta that I just discussed as well as vega, which is volatility. And doing that makes you a smarter trader. If you could do this in Vegas, they wouldn't have those huge casinos because they kick you out if you're counting cards in Vegas. I know. Not that I'm that good at it, but I've been kicked out. And friends of mine that are good at it, I'm not that good at it. Friends of mine that are good at it have to disguise themselves when they go in and play. You don't have to disguise yourself on Wall Street. You can walk right in, play, put on this trade, buy the 110s, sell the 115s, take that amount of out-of-pocket money down, and instead of having 108,000 on the table, you could have perhaps as little as 1,500 on the table that you could turn into 5,000. I like my odds better, and I think you will too, as you understand options. You want to learn more? Go to marketrebellion.com/get started. That's marketrebellion.com/get started to see all about the courses that we offer there. There's SBUX. As you see, approaching the 52-week high, which is 112. It's at 108 right now, up 38 cents. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Be disciplined about your profits that you take. Be disciplined about losses that you cut. And now let's get to some questions, shall we? All right. At Jon Najarian, at 3@3_UOA. That's where you send the questions. Apple. Would you buy Apple at this level? Yes, I would. And you heard probably my friend Jim Lebenthal say he bought it at this level. There is the support. 1 month low is 116.21. A lot of people would target that as key support. If we break that, yeah, then they'd get more nervous. Do we get there? I don't think so, but that is the 1 month low. Check it out. Let's talk about this one. Michael Pron, and his handle is at Mike, P-R-O-N, says, Jon Najarian, Bank America, Morgan Stanley. It's not really a question, Mike, but I'll try to answer anyway. I'm guessing he's asking, what do I think of those two? This is what I think. Bank America is right at key support after today's sell-off. $38.42 is the low. The 1 month low, I'd say watch that one. As far as Morgan Stanley, this one's been off to the races. Look at that. Since November, the stock's up from like 46 to 86. Fantastic run. Can it continue? Sure it can. You may have seen they just offered to their customers access to Novogratz's Bitcoin or digital asset fund. They have offered this to now their best clients, their biggest clients that are high net worth. They've offered access, but they'll only let them put up to 2% of their portfolio in a digital asset of that sort. My brother Pete and I, we are launching our crypto fund in the next few weeks, we hope. That crypto fund we will also try to offer through Morgan Stanley and through Anthony Scaramucci. You'll hear more about that later, but what I'm just pointing out is that Morgan Stanley, beautiful company, well run, really insightful, and very forward looking. So I love the stock. Thank you for asking, Mike. And winding up with Pete, Waffle House. He's wearing his Waffle House tee on the shirt at his place down there in Florida. And Greg Shatsky, his handle is at Metro Pioneer. That's METROPIONEER. Says, I love the Waffle House. Who doesn't? It's great food. It's a fun time. The people that work there, yeah, some of them are ex-cons and so forth, but we all think they deserve a second chance, or at least a lot of us do, and Waffle House gives it to them. So hats off to you, Waffle House. I think you guys are fabulous. I love the food. I love your commitment to the community, and Pete is a longtime fan. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a great one. Don't forget, our ETF, Pete and I have an ETF that's up 73% this year. We're advisors to THCX. I'm just fully disclosing that to you as well. Now, by the way, I'm starting a new thing with our podcast. Once every couple weeks, we're going to bring my performance coach on. Yeah, I got one. Wendy. That's not her real name. She chose to use that one from Billions because her real name, if it got out there, her clients would not appreciate it. So you will be able to tune into my podcast with Wendy and ask her and me questions. You can pose those to my Twitter account or her Twitter account, and we will answer those on the podcast. If you have any issues that you'd like addressed by a performance coach that has billion-dollar clients, send them in to me at Jon Najarian or to Wendy. Follow my tweets and you'll see Wendy's handle as well. Thank you, my friends. I hope it's a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to heading back to New York. First time in a year. Bang.